This is the Round 2 podcast with Galen Parker and Stephanie Nicole, where we talk to big thinkers, big dreamers, and big idea havers. Quitting and failing are not the same thing, and we're going to show you why. Welcome you back to the Round 2 podcast starring Stephanie Nicole. My name is Galen Parker. Stephanie Nicole, say hello to the people.
Hey, everybody.
I love it. Just keep that energy. It's a nice compliment. It's like a fair handshake. When I come in too hard, she's going to come in and soften up. She says, hey, everybody. Guys, as always, we try to impart to you something of benefit. So last week, I think we had Leah Coleman on. She's like a first-time investor. She's just getting her feet wet. Well, this time, we've got someone else who's, I like it because when we talk about making a splash, I think Dustin Olverson qualifies for a guy who just said, hey, I'm committing to the real estate world. And we're not talking about being a realtor. We're not talking about just being an investor. Dustin looked at the real estate world and said, I can do that. And someone said, well, which part? And he said, all of it. And so we're going to talk to him how he went from taking orders to giving orders, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, Mr. Dustin Olverson. Dustin, say hello to everyone.
Hello. Thank you, Galen. Thank you, Stephanie, for the invite. And I've been waiting to do this one. First time collaborating, so I'm really excited. So let's go.
That's excellent. We're happy to hear that. So I think Stephanie and I, we'd spoke in the past, and we were saying even like pre-production of the show, she just said, well, I want to know, who is Dustin Olverson? So that's a great. So Dustin, are you married, kids? What's the deal?
Yeah, who am I? So I am a retired soldier. I did 26 years in the Army, United States Army. I'm married. I'm getting close to 30 years in marriage, actually. I have 3 boys. One's in college. A few of them have followed me into the military. And then I have 3 granddaughters, 3 grandgirls. And, the boys have wives and other things like that, too. So I do have some daughter-in-laws. And that's my family. I started out that way. I got married very young. I actually got married at 17. So,
Ooh,
I got married pretty early and had kids really early. So I've actually always been a family man. Life balance, family balance, that's a whole nother story, but I've always been a family man.
That's excellent. So, I mean, what's it like being a granddad of 3 little grandgirls?
So, being all boys and only raising boys and never having a girl, I always wondered what that experience would be like. And it is totally different. It is rewarding. I'm still a little uncomfortable. They want more time. They talk a lot more. They want to have conversations. And my boys just wanted to go vroom, vroom, right? And they want to talk about stuff, right? And they want to feel love. They want to have interaction a lot more. And they demand my attention. And I wasn't aware of that. I really had, not really comfortable with it. And so something I had to grow into.
Yeah,
so
right. Even after the military, you're growing into a new version of yourself. I love that.
Yeah.
But no, they call you Pop-Pop? What do they call you, Pop-Pop?
So they actually
Grandpa D.
So we're a mix. We're a blended family. So they actually call me abuelo, which is grandfather in Spanish. And then sometimes they'll call me grandpa or something like that. But it's actually usually just abuelo is what they usually call me.
Very nice. So 26 in the arm. What was the highest rank that you achieved?
So I achieved first sergeant. I spent a lot of the time, my last 6-7 years, actually in a first sergeant position, which is a senior advisor at the company level. And that was my pinnacle. I loved that position, and I actually did not want to go any higher. It was a position where you're kind of the integrator and still a visionary, and you have both worlds where you can still integrate, but you can still come up with vision and implement and make something you really wanted to build still and be part of. So I really enjoyed that. And then just being able to still lead troops. So my last few years was that I hit 20 and I wasn't tired. I still love serving. I still love getting at it. I was still deploying. And I was like, nah, I'm not leaving. I'm going to enjoy my last few years doing what I enjoy doing, which is being a soldier. And that's what I did. I just enjoyed it all the way to the last minute. No resentment, no anger, no anything. I had a great time.
Well, transitioning from the military, I know you to be a licensed agent, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I see you just moving and grooving and going here, going there, but I don't know exactly like what you're all into. Could you kind of tell us?
Yeah, so transitioning was still a challenge because I signed up at 72, so that was my identity, being a soldier. I found real estate by accident, searching for a new identity, figuring out who and what I'm going to be. And real estate, it was a book. I picked up a book and it grabbed me, and I marched
You
in
remember?
and said, I
Sorry
want
to interrupt. What
uh,
was it?
the Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller.
Oh, okay, sure,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. And had me walking into a Keller Williams branch, telling them that I want to be a broker and run a real estate team and own a real estate team. So,
They were like,
yeah, get your license first, and a few other requirements.
yeah.
So coming out of the military, you're overconfident. I was very overconfident. Confident. I was very ambitious. I really wanted it all, and I really had nothing left. I mean, I wasn't a soldier anymore, so I was ready to give my all to something new and find that new calling, that new belonging, and that new passion to get up and go get it because it was gone. I couldn't wear the uniform anymore. I said I wouldn't. I was ready to go. And I turned all that energy into real estate and pointed it at real estate. So I guess I still had a lot more to go because I found out real estate has no
It
limits.
doesn't.
And I do well. I do well in that environment. I do well in a no limit environment where the limit is what you could dream of and what you can be. And that's what allows me to run,
I
and just
love
run
that.
all day.
And I'm hoping people, I hope if you're listening to this and you're considering real estate, or if it's just whatever the industry that you guys are thinking about going into, take that same mindset, right? Like take that desire to push. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and he asked me, "Well, Galen, how'd you come up with this?" And I was like, "Think about the industry you're in." I was like, "Anything that I see, I can just make it. Like if I see that
Mhm.
Stephanie put out a poster or a thing, I was like, just make your own. There's no one telling you can't. You can just dream it and make it a reality. Like I've got a life size poster that I bring to me open houses. And everyone's like, "Where did you get that from?" I was like, I literally just thought, wouldn't it be cool if I just carried a billboard for myself and made it life size? So it's like it's 4 feet wide, it's like 6 feet tall, and I was like, and I just put it in the house with me, and they're just like, "Oh my goodness!" I was like, anything you believe, just do it. So I that is what I agree with Stephanie. I feel like I saw Dustin coming in, and I was just like, "Man, this guy's just doing everything." And I'm like, "That's awesome! Like, go for it!"
Houses.
Like,
He got some houses fixed,
yeah,
some houses not. You might see him at the networking day. You might see him at the realtor meeting. I'm like, hold on.
no, that
Yeah.
is good. That's encouraging. It's encouraging for me. I think I know it's encouraging for other people just to like you mentioned that when you came into real estate, you had a measure of let's say overconfidence or confidence just because of like how do you think that helped you and how do you think that possibly hurt you as you were going into real estate?
Oh man, it definitely helped me because of the consistency and the discipline of being a soldier. And I didn't walk across the stage thinking I was retired. I was walking across the stage talking about how am I going to succeed in my next part of my life and achieve the highest level that I can. So I was already into that mindset. How does that hurt me is you kind of shake up a few things. You'll offend people. I can be very aggressive and assertive because I really know what I want to achieve, and I've been given that power to do it, and I really go after it. So I can come across cocky, arrogant. Everybody laughs. Very cocky, very arrogant, and that can be offensive at first. But that's the swag of a soldier. You don't go to war thinking, "Can I?"
I
Right?
might be able to
I
win
might
this
be
one.
able to do it. So I was looking for a little grace, like, hey guys, I just been programmed for 26 years to go do this thing. It takes time to transition to make it a little bit softer and palatable. But I couldn't have that attitude of, I think, or I could be the best. And I brought that with me. And if you're not used to being around soldiers, people that defend our country or our nation at that level, it could take a while to take it in a little bit. And I think
Stephanie,
that's what the issue.
You and I, we've never been accused of being aggressive or
But also,
You know,
I was in the army too. So now that you say that you were a first sergeant in the military, 26 years, it explains so much of your personality. Like
right?
really, like I'm like now I understand why, because you do come off like kind of like, I don't want to use the word arrogant.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
You do, like, you have an air of arrogance, like an air of confidence. So, but that's
Mhm.
the military really instills that confidence in you.
Right.
So, and you was first
I
sergeant
think
too,
it's
so you used to calling the shots. So it's okay. I
Mhm.
understand.
I think it's
And
funny because with both of you, you guys have like similar personalities in that front of like, there's no one that's going to tell you you can't do something. And with real estate's a funny business. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. It's like, on one hand, people say, hey, you can do whatever you dream. And at the other hand, there's people that are like, but don't do too much. Don't offend everyone.
yeah,
And it's like, you guys know my story. It's like my best friend is a person that everyone's like, this guy is arrogant. And I'm like you don't to me, I don't want to be partnered with someone who's like I'm not saying over the top, like I appreciate humble people, but you need like people who are going to be like, let's go, because like it makes you like, all right, we can do this. Like the alternative is like, man, so I think your team probably benefits from the swagger, let's call it the swagger that you have, Dustin.
well, yeah, I mean, it's appreciated much more now that I think I've been in the industry and people have gotten to know me. But somebody, the investors don't give you 10 or $15 million or $20 million to flip some houses, because you're going to get along with everybody, right? You're there to mitigate risk and operate at a high level, and they don't want you to necessarily be timid. Be grateful, be kind, be forgiven and thankful, and be a good person. But you got to go
Sure.
get it, because this life is people's livelihoods. It's millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars that people are piling on your plate to produce.
Okay.
and,
I think it's
and
like, I think all of us have been like, Stephanie, you've got investor clients. Dustin, you've got investor clients. I've got investor clients. Like when they call me, it's like there's an economy of words that because their time is so valuable. So they're basically like, Galen, what's the ARV? And they don't want me to be like, oh well, I think it's gonna be. I'm usually like, it's X, and I'm gonna market it and sell it, and we gonna get that money. And they're just like, perfect. I got the house. I'll call you in 60 days when the thing's done, because like they want me to like, and when I go to market it, when I shoot the video, when I shoot all that stuff, it's like there's nothing about me that's like maybe. And that I think, Dustin, you've got that good. I watched one of your lives when I was like doing research for this, and I think you were like walking through the house and you were just like showing. I'm like, this is what we're talking about. Dustin told a funny story maybe last year when I went to his grid events about. You remember this? You were talking about clearing the house. The police like were outside and they were just like, go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they had confidence in me too, right? They're like, hey, you want it back? Go clear it. We'll stand outside if you have any issues. And I executed. But, I'm an investor, but what I specialize at most is I don't flip houses, I flip money.
Oh,
People give me a call and say, Dustin, I need you to deploy capital. They don't give me a call and say, find me a house. They say, I got this much, deploy it for me. All right, I'll call you back tomorrow or in 2 days and I'll get it moving for you. And it's just a different, I kind of found my own niche. I found my niche. And the community and the operation that I operate in has accepted me for that, I think now. Yeah.
so
But it was rough.
in real estate, what is your favorite strategy or your favorite, thing to do?
I build. I'm a builder. I love building businesses. I love watching people grow. I love working and collaborating and having a vision with people and making that thing come alive. It just happens to be real estate because also it has very little limits. You're not in a box unless you put yourself there. So my biggest thing is I do solve problems. I do well in an austere environment or environment that is not stable. I That's why I work well with contractors. That's where I work well with wholesalers or in tough neighborhoods, because that's the hostile environment I kind of do well in, for better words. So, that's my thing, is bringing solutions and solving problems when it comes to real estate and deploying capital.
And getting into to piggyback on Stephanie's question, and I'm looking at some of the things that I had like brainstorm. Obviously, when it comes to real estate, there are just so many different things that pop out at you, can kind of confront you. What was the biggest surprise and most valuable lesson that you've learned over, let's say, these past 5 years of just the real estate splash?
So it may offend some people, but we're going to talk about
Let's
it.
talk about it.
Hey, they not get in and go after it. I was surprised by that. I really was. You know, the 3 hour workday, I didn't get that. I work 12 to 16 hours a day today, every day almost, and I had to do that in the military. And I just thought, because that was the environment I came to when I hit the first brokerage and realized how people just tend to coast through it. And, you know, I was also a recruiter in the United States Army, you know, they'll make an hour of phone calls and they're like, they have this big accomplishment. I was putting 5 to 6 hours into lead generation and calling and phone calling, just sometimes in one sitting. And that's really surprised me just by how much opportunities here, but we didn't put the time in, you know, to get it. And it was all about I've been trying to get my 10,000 hours. You know, Stephanie's like, oh, you know, what's he trying to do? I've been trying to get my 10,000 hours. I got a late start.
For some of you guys who have not read the book or don't understand the reference, when we talk about, and we talked about this on the show before, 10,000 hours for the average person who's a master of, whether you're a carpenter, you're an accountant, you're a painter, the minimum they say is you need 10,000 hours of mastery before you can be good at something. So whether it's 10,000 hours in the Army, whether it's 10,000 hours on the phone, whether it's 10,000 hours of sales. And when we talk about some of our past guests, we look at a guy like Todd Miller, we look at Chris Crump. I guarantee those guys all have their 10,000 hours in, because they've learned the discipline, guys, and now they're going for it. So that's what Dustin means when he says he's working on 10,000 hours. I think he's if he's not there, he's well on the way. I mean, if he ain't at 10,000, he's at 9,999 at this point.
Everywhere, all day, every day.
I love it, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, I like having Dustin, because it's like, for me personally, I want, when people open their social media, I want them to see me. When they go anywhere, I want them to see me, and I feel like when I go and see myself, the very next person I see is Dustin, then it's Stephanie. I'm like, okay. I was like, all right. I was like, I got to step my game up because I need to see me more. But you know, Dustin is everywhere. Stephanie, what's the question you have?
What skills from the Army helped you to kind of make the real estate portion successful? Like, what did you take that was valuable?
Being fearless and not being so fearful. I used a mindset of, you know, my greatest loss used to be losing my soldier, or my own loss of life. And that was the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate sacrifice. That's your ultimate loss. So if I could come in here and the only thing I had to risk is money and time, I could go get it. So I would definitely use that mindset to use that as my advantage. And then also, and it came off the arrogance. I do believe being a soldier in the United States Army is one of the highest callings that your nation's got.
Yeah.
And when I see others, I'd be like, oh, I just did this for 26 years. Why can't I enter into the real estate and be a top 10%, top 1%? When I did that in the United States Army, only 1% is serving. So I use all those mindset tricks for me, just like you're doing anything else, a long road march, a long movement, a long run, a long deployment. You're definitely using your head to keep you into the fight and help you succeed. And I still do that. And that may also why I came across, because I got my mask on, I got my game, my head's in the game, and I'm pumped up when you see me. I'm already pumped up. Like coming here, I'm pumped up. Like I already done pumped myself up to execute. And that's what I use.
Dustin, I noticed this when I got into real estate, because I worked at a Fortune 200 company, and it was heavy sales, right? And so those guys would be there from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And when I got into like real estate, I did notice, I'm like, all right, what time you guys start? And they're like, all right, well, we'll be, other than Jared, of course, because that guy's a monster. But like other guys would be like, all right, we're going to get there at 12. All right, we're going to make some calls, and then we're going to go to happy hour at 4. And it was like, that was the day. And I was just like, that's it? And it's like, So now it's like I'm in the office at 8 a.m. like ready, and like I'll talk to some agents. And they're just like, all right. So I'm like, what are you gonna do for the day? And they're just like, all right, what am I gonna do? And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I was like, did you know? Like, did you notice? They're like, man, there's a different work ethic.
Back.
Yeah, that. I mean, I saw my team knows already, and I actually have gotten a few responses. I'm not saying this is healthy, but I could be sending out emails at 3 a.m. I could actually, people have actually reached out to me and they're shocked because it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and they sent me a text for the morning and I respond back. I don't put no time limits. I believe that's just another limit. I'm tired is just an excuse. It's a mindset. You ain't tired. You just don't want to do it. I mean, this is how I look at it, right?
Yeah,
Like he was first.
You
He been saying this for a long time, y'all.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just the limit you put on yourself. Like when I stop working, like when someone like reaches out to me and I say I'm not working right now, they know I'm tired because it's like I'm a work until I'm physically like, all right, it's done. And then the very last thing I do is I make the to-do list for the next day and I go into it. But it is funny. It's like you just gotta go up. I love it.
I'm pushing every day.
As we kind of wrap this up, we've got a couple more minutes. I want to always give people some gems, some take homes. If we put you in front of a room, there's 50 brand new entrepreneurs, all different careers, not just real estate. And they're like, hey, Mr. Olverson, what are 3 things that I should set in place to set myself apart and make me successful? What are 3 things? And you can just go one by one. So that the listeners can kind of digest it as they drive to work or whatever on their lunch break. That you would say, "Hey, I wish I would have done this, or I saw this occur, and I'm gonna implement this." What are the 3 things that they can start doing now?
So before I go, I'll start it off with this. I've done a lot of chest pounding through this, and as we've been talking, overall, that is to keep me in a mindset. But I learned real quick to scale and get where I am today is you can't do it alone, and you're not going to be the best at anything or mostly nothing in your organizations. So it's really kind of the what, the why, and the who. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And when I figured out why do I really want to do it? And some people may reverse it. They say, hey, I need the why versus the what. I was transitioning. So I really needed the what, not the why. So I don't think you got to take a nonlinear approach to that. But the biggest thing, so you got the what, the why, the who. The who is the one that really takes it to the next level. Who's going to help you? Who's going to guide you? Who's going to mentor you? Who's going to coach you? Who's going to help you so you can lead the way? Who is going to give you the knowledge that you're seeking? Because you're too busy trying to figure out the how, you ain't going to ever get there. It takes too much time to figure out how I'm going to flip a house when I can find out who's going to help me flip the house that has the knowledge. Who already knows, right? I want to start a title company. It's not how do I start a company. No, it's who's going to help me because somebody's already done it. And I was able to get over my ego and my pride because as a first sergeant, Stephanie knows, and we're top. They call us top, right? We're the top. We're the top of the enlisted chain. We're where all the knowledge has to lay. And I had to get over myself and understand that I didn't have any knowledge. And I actually had to come from a space of almost incompetency in my organization. And that helps me humble because there's subject matter experts. There's better sellers than me. There's better title companies, better constructions. There's better flippers, better project managers than me. And just bringing myself down to where I could be a leader and lead and go and use the who to help me get there.
Okay.
So those 3 W's has really gotten me far.
So I'm starting. What were you saying, Steph?
I was going to ask a question. So what is some advice that you would give somebody who was kind of like, they've been in real estate, they've tried a few things out, but it hasn't really panned out and they're thinking about giving up? What would you say to them?
It's not them, it's you. Everything about being successful, and that's why I said it's kind of harder mentally here than in the United States Army because, and in general, in most industries, it's easy to kind of look at the circumstances, the environment, the interest rates, it's, the lack of housing, It's too many realtors. It is too many this. It's too many that. There's not enough money. This elections. No, that's everything else. It's on me. It's not them. It's you. Work on yourself every single day. Make yourself better, and the rest will just fall in place. Just stay with it. Don't give up. Don't give in, and work on you. And it'll lighten up. It really will. And if you don't, I've been through it, so I've been there. So I've had to look at myself many a days. That is my fault. The partnership didn't work out. It's my fault. The house didn't flip. It's my fault that we didn't make enough profit or no profit. Because there's things that I could have did that I didn't do, and I have to take ownership of it. And if you could get past the ego and the pride and get to the next one, just get to the next one and take those lessons learned, you're going to do better each time.
That's a great question, Stephanie. I love that. That's a great question. Because sometimes when yeah, I love that. That's a part. Because sometimes when people come up to me and they're like, "I'm thinking about getting out," and they're already at that, I'm just like, "You should." I mean, not in a way, but it's just like if they have already brought themselves down that far mentally, where they're like, now there's some people that are like, "Man, I'm fighting, but I'm struggling." Oh yeah, okay, we can work with that. But if a person is just like, "Hey, I'm getting out," then I'm just like, "You should," because I mean, like, you got to find something that you are going to fight for. I think in the beginning of us doing this podcast, Stephanie, we both talked about times where we were like, "All right, I guess this isn't for us," but we decided to stay in. I mean, I remember like looking at them bills and just being like, right? So, but that's a great answer about like looking at yourself. Any other pieces of advice, Dustin, that just pops in your head that you're like, I wish I could have told earlier Dustin this or a different person this?
Delayed gratification, 5 to 7 years. I'm hadn't hit my 5 years, and I got in knowing that I'm going to want instant success, and I want to be where I want to be here in 1 year, 2 years, or 2 months. And that level of expectation does start to weigh on you if you have unrealistic expectations. Because I see when I came in, I see guys like you, I see Jared Davis, you see all these guys operating at a high level. You just want to be there.
Right.
Like I'm putting in that, but they got their 10,000 hours plus they got their years, and you got to put all of that in perspective. And you selling 50 houses in your first year or 100 houses in your first year and don't have a team, this is not realistic. And they got there because they put in the time. So you got to put in the time. And it's just something, even today, I want to be some other places. I want to do some other high level things. And it has nothing to do that I'm not putting in the time, but it's just not time. I still got the journey, the walk, the journey, the travel, the things to learn and to grow from. And giving yourself time to go through the journey and the process will get you to the destination. There's just no quick thing in real estate. There ain't nothing quick. Flipping houses is hard. I'll tell you right now, if you want to be a house flipper, give me a call. I'll give you 10 reasons why not to before I give you 10 reasons to do it.
That's probably
all right.
If you last past those 10 reasons, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's it.
Well, I'm looking at the time. You guys are probably arriving to work as you're listening to this. We just want to thank Dustin. I mean, I feel like we could have kept on going. We got to bring Dustin back another time because this is great. And I hope you guys really kind of benefited from some of those gems of being looking inward. There's the benefit of confidence. You can be overconfident, but there's a benefit of confidence. And if you don't believe in yourself enough to be a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, what are you even doing it for? Why are you pursuing this dream? Because you got to get past those things to even get to your business plan. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope there was some gems that you benefited from. This is why we're here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a round 2 podcast starring Stephanie Nicole. This is Galen Parker. I forgot to tell you in the beginning, but I hope you're still going to do it. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube so that you can stay up to date as we bring you new guests who have new perspective, new ideas, and hopefully that'll eventually make a new you. All right, guys. See you later.
See you.